We are live. Thank you for joining us. Most welcome to the 5th week. We're actually at the 5th week of the mobile application development session. We are super excited because you guys have really been awesome with your with working with your mobile application ideas and just engaging us in terms of learning and acquiring mobile application development skills. So in this session, you're going to finalize. You're going to finalize with the mobile application development, and then we are going to make sure that we give you a small assignment just to practice and in preparation, in actually preparation for your project development. So if you've just joined us, I've given you a form in the chat. Kindly fill it. Let me share my screen, and then we can continue. So in the previous session, we were able to create a couple of elements, and we stopped at the make appointment screen. Let me make sure I have that correct. Yes, we stopped at the make appointment screen. I'll just do an overview of what we did in the previous session, and then we are going to finalize. The session today is actually very small. I mean, we're not going to do really much, but I'll make sure that after the session, we discuss on ways or areas where you can get user interface inspirations as well as backend inspirations for you to be able to create really beautiful applications and applications that are functional as well, because users want them all. Users want applications that are beautiful and functional. So I will be able to share with you. So if it depends, nowadays, the design world has really grown to an extent that you can really create beautiful applications, and depending on your style. If you're a minimalist, like you like when you enter in a room, you only see a few chairs, you can do the same in your application the way Uber has. Or if you just like good designs and including everything, you'll still have everything that you need included. So in the previous session, we were at the make appointment screen. When I look at the design, of course, when you look at the design, you can create send appointments, and then the hairstyle input, appointment date, appointment time, and extra description, which is optional, and then the submit button, and these details are saved as the Firebase database. And those are the blocks that we were handling in the previous session. These are the variables that we created, and then we added an icon at the title bar. When I hover on this, as you can see, we have the event, that the icon and name of the selected icon of the title bar, of which it is one of the invisible components. And then we we made sure that when that appointment, make appointment screen is initialized, we are able to know that where exactly the user has navigated from using this method, and then make sure that we populate the salon name depending on where the user is navigating from or where the user has clicked from. This is an important concept because when you will be creating your applications, you will be able to apply these concepts. And remember, we are going to create your applications in the areas of health, economy, democracy, and security. We will have an ideation session in the coming session, not this next week, but the other one that's coming. So we'll really look forward to engaging you on that. Great. And if you're following us live, I would recommend that you DM us, because in the ideation session, we won't go live. It won't go live, so that you can share your ideas with us. We help you fine tune your ideas and make them look good. So thank you for joining us. Let's dive into coding. We were able to create and store some data in the Firebase database. Now let us fetch that data, because we've stored this data in form of maps, keys, and values in the Firebase database. Now let us fetch that data. How do we fetch that data? We go to the appointment screen. We go to the appointment screen, and in the appointment screen, let me go to the designer so that we understand what we have here. And here is the appointment screen. We have a vertical scroll arrangement. a notifier, of course, to notify the user whether an activity, for example, when you open this screen, there will be some progress dialog as we are waiting for the data to be fetched in the Firebase. It won't take long. It's majorly instant because Firebase is a real-time database. And then we also have TinyDB to fetch the user's email address details so that it can only populate the details of that particular user from the Firebase database. Then we have a card. We have a card that will contain an appointment list. So let me share a blank whiteboard so that I explain to you how this screen is going to look like, so that you can have an expectation of what this screen is going to look like. Just a minute, guys. Yeah, I'm going to share in a short while. So basically in this screen, we have used a lot of non-visible components. We've really used a lot of non-visible components. And with the use of non-visible components, you can be able to use or arrange your screen in any way that you wish. Okay, you can be able to arrange your screen in any way that you wish. For example, if you want to start with let's say you want to start with a text with a label. So you can utilize the same label as long as you give it an ID. Utilize the same label. We are going to experiment that so that you can create and use the same labels multiple times whenever you are creating your application. So that is a concept that I really wanted us to learn in this session so that we can be able to understand the use of non-visible components. Great. Now, let me share the whiteboard and just explain what you're going to have. Okay, I'll put a text. Now you're going to have a card. You're going to have like a card view here, and you're going to utilize the non-visible components as many times as possible, especially the label, the non-visible component label, okay? So in the first place or in the first section, we are going to call the salon label, it's salon LBL, I think. I wrote salon LBL, yeah. Salon LBL, salon label. And then in this salon label, it will contain salon name details, okay? Salon name details. And then in that card, we'll have a space here. We will utilize the space. And this space is also a non-visible component, space, like that. Then we call again salon label. Salon label. And this time, this will contain hairstyle detail. Hairstyle details. For example, someone wants Abuja or someone wants a bob cut or something of that sort, okay? Nowadays, salons often offer kinyozi as well, haircuts. Anyway, and then we put a space again, a small space. We call the space the non-visible component, and that space, I think in our code, we called it salon space. So let me just write it as I called it, salon space, salon space. Great. And then I'll do the same, salon space. Now I'll also call the same label, salon LBL, because of course these are all dynamic components. So we can call them and use them as many times as possible and arrange our card as we want. So I'll call again the salon LBL. And this time, this salon LBL, I'll make sure that I concatenate or join the appointment date and appointment time. Okay, appointment date and appointment time. After I call that, I'll be able to finally call the last salon space like this. And after I've put the appointment date and appointment time, I will add the last salon LBL to contain extra description. This was an optional extra description. This was optional for the users because extra description is actually something that users might want to share or they might not want to share. So it is really important for, yeah, it's just important for us to make sure that we have included that. We have included that. So I've shared with you, as you're continuing, guys, I've shared with you a form. Kindly fill that form. I'm going to share again in case you've joined us here on Zoom, okay? Fill that form, and then we'll be able to facilitate your attendance at the end of this session. Great. So this is what we are going to create. So have a picture of this in mind, because after this session, I would like to encourage you to go and install this app before you continue. So let's dive in and start coding this and create this. This is a continuation of where we stopped from. So I'll share my screen again so that we can have a, yes, yeah, we can have an overview. Great. I'll go to the blocks section, and then we are going to first of all create variables and do our backend. So the first thing we're going to create variables. Variables is here, the variable section. Put an initialized global name and put ID, because we are utilizing the same non-visible component. So we have to change the IDs so that the program uses the same component but differently, populating different data on our screen. So the ID component, I'm going to initialize it to 0. Go to the math and give it a 0 or an integer value. Okay? And then we are going to initialize email, because as a tiny database, we have our email. Okay, we have our email, so that we can only fetch data depending on the email that the user has, or the email that the user has registered with. So I'll put here initialize global email to blank. Leave it as blank, okay? And then I'll also put another appointment, another variable, and this variable will contain all appointments. So if you guys can remember, while we were making an appointment here, we had to store our appointments in a dictionary, and of course it's in key value. So you might have all the appointments uploaded in the Firebase database. So we are calling this, or we are, with the moment we are going to fetch this data in the Firebase and put in this variable, okay? In this variable of the called all appointments. Since our data is in dictionary format or in key value format, we're going to put the empty dictionary like that, okay? Initialize global appointments to create empty dictionary. And then we are going to break this all appointments into single appointments and populate that data. So it's still a dictionary, okay? So we are going to also initialize single appointment, the one that you're going to populate and enable it to loop data. So I'll put here, initialize single appointment to, I'll also put create empty dictionary. Actually, this is the last part of this app. It's super easy. It's super easy. So I'll put also create empty dictionary like that. Fantastic, guys. Now, after I've placed that, we are going to create, when this screen initializes, what should happen? What should happen when this screen initializes? So I'll click here, when appointment screen dot initialize, what should happen? We come first of all to the notifier. Because we are fetching data from the Firebase database, we want to make sure that we fetched this data, structured it in a way that a user can be able to view before we close the dialog, okay? Before we close the dialog. So first of all, when this screen initializes, we will call notifier one.show message dialog, okay? .show message dialog. This is custom message dialog. Let me look for the correct dialog. Progress dialog. The one that loads continuously, okay? Show progress, there it is, progress dialog. Then we put a text. And then we can say fetching data. Fetching data. And then we can add another text here. And then here we can say, please wait, so that we are fetching data from the database. A lot of things will be going on in the background as you're waiting. I mean, as you're populating the data. But of course, our phone processors are super fast. It will just be a snap of your fingers, okay? So of course, you have to understand what goes on in the background, but it's just going to be a snap of your fingers. ASAP, it just loads your data, okay? So after that, now after we are making the user wait, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to set this global email to the logged in user, because it depends with the type of the user that has logged in. We are fetching data depending on the type of the user that has logged in. So we come to the variable section and then choose set like that and say set global email to, and then put a blank text like that. I may not put a blank text, sorry. Come to the tiny database, because we saved a logged in user in the tiny database. The moment a user logs in, we'll choose here call tinydb1.getValue. And then for the tag, I'll just duplicate this empty bubble so that I put here in the tag section. The tag, I'm going to say logged in user. Be really careful. It should really match what we wrote in the login screen. I'll just go confirm mine, logged in user. It should really match what was there in the login screen. I hope you guys haven't forgotten. As you can see, logged in user, we store some value and then segment that text so that it can contain data that can be stored in the Firebase screen. I hope you guys can remember that. If not, you can still try and review our past videos. So I'll go back to the appointments and say, call tinydb1 or get value. And then the tag should be logged in user. Don't put spaces before and after in the special tags. And then you can call now Firebase DB1 dot get value, because we are connected to the Firebase database. Call Firebase DB1 dot get value. It's here. Yes, call Firebase DB1 dot get value we put here. So the tag, if you can remember, the tag will be with reference to the make appointment screen here. Email, then / appointment. We are going to call that specific tag. We'll come back here to the appointment screen and make sure that the tag is exactly that. So we'll put a join here. We'll put a join in the text section there. Then the first place here will be get email, okay? We are getting from the variable. Of course, this we've set an email, now we are getting it because that is the one that we used to store our data in our Firebase database. And then in this section, for email, we are going to say to add appointments and a /, okay? So I'll put a blank bubble. And then for accuracy purposes, I'll just go to the make appointment screen and copy. I don't want to risk. I'll just come here and copy. I don't want to risk. Sometimes I just might type my own things. So I'll come here at the appointment screen and then I'll paste, but this time without the /, because I'll just fetch my value and everything that comes after the appointments screen. At the appointments data. And then if value is not there, this time we're not going to leave a blank text bubble. If value is not there, we just leave an empty dictionary, okay? Because we are dealing with map of data, okay? And we are done with that. Of course, we're going to continue with this method here. What happens when the Firebase, you've gotten the value from the Firebase? We have when Firebase db1.got value, and then we'll close the progress dialog towards the end. But before we do that, let us create a method that will make our life easier as we are storing data. I call this procedure, it's a method rather, or let me call it a function. If you're using a programming language, you'll be familiar with the term function, but this one here is called procedure. But this time we'll use this to procedure result, and this procedure will be to format our text. Format text. I'll just call it format text. and give it 2 parameters. Before I share with you, or before I let you know more about this procedure, it's just worth mentioning that when I shared the whiteboard, you are able to see that in the whiteboard, you're able to see sections in which we have a label, a space, like that. So in that label, that format text is a function that is going to help us format that specific label, okay? Just worth mentioning, because we have to at least have a method. We don't want to have a lot of code to make sure that we format text. So let me share the whiteboard again so that you can just have a look there. So we have that salon label. It has, for example, salon name, full colon, the name of the salon, depending on the one that is fetched from the Firebase database. Hairstyle, full colon, depending on the hairstyle that is fetched from the Firebase database. So we are creating a method that is going to format this text for us to make our lives easier. So let me share back my Modular Creator screen. And of course, I'll make sure that I share my sound as well. Great. So this format text is going to have 2 parameters or 2 inputs. I'm just going to drag and drop 2 inputs like that. So for the first input, I'm going to put title and then content like that. And then the result should be a join. So I'll just go to the text and then take a join, put it there. And then here, I'll extend it 2 more times so that we have 4. And as I said before, you don't need to cram this. It will just come with your logic. When we start developing our solutions, this logic will just come in. And remember, we'll be there to support you all through. So don't sweat it so much. It will be there to support you. Now, in this join, we'll have, first of all, the first blank bubble like this, and put the break tag, BR, like that. Okay. And then we are going to get this title here, put it there. Then we are going to also, duplicate, close this, not break, sorry, it is bold, not break, bold, B tag, okay? And then we're going to put a blank text bubble again here, put close the B tag like that, and then get content like that. Simple. So it's just formatting. It's just formatting the text, okay? It's just formatting the text. Higher. Let us continue and now deal with the elephant, okay? We've started eating the tail. Now let us handle the elephant, okay? So we are going to Firebase DB. So of course we've started here, show progress dialog, set the email correctly, and then fetched. We've said Firebase db1.get value. We are telling Firebase to get value from the database, from online, okay? So what should happen when the value has been gotten? So we choose when Firebase db1.got value. This is where a lot of formatting is going to happen, but please keep an open mind. Keep an open mind towards this. It's going to be easy. It's just going to be easy for us to use the non-visible component. So what we are going to do is we are going to set all appointments. Because the moment a value is fetched, we have to set all appointments variable to all the values that have been gotten from the Firebase DB and start formatting from there. So this is what I will do. This is what you are going to do. You'll click on when Firebase db1.go value, we come to the variable section, to the variable group, and choose, set global like that, set global all appointments to get value. Set global all appointments to get value. And then at this point, you can now comfortably dismiss the progress dialog because the formatting of data that comes after is instant. So there's no need of you waiting until the data has been formatted. So we will stop here. We'll stop the progress dialog and format the data. Okay. So we'll come here and choose notifier one here, scroll down and choose call notifier one dot dismiss. Dismiss progress dialog, okay? Like that. Now, let us start populating the data in the non or in the components here. As you can see here in these components, we used a vertical scroll arrangement, and this will be our reference point because we are putting the non-visible components in this vertical scroll arrangement. This is going to be our reference point. So I'll come to the block section, and then I'll first of all put a space at the top. I'll put a space at the top, and then the card will follow. Another space, the card will follow. So let us start by putting a space. So this is what we are going to do. We are going here to the salon space and choose, click here and choose call salon space dot create space. This one, okay? We're going to create this space. Call salon space dot create space. I hope you can now see the use of the ID there. Because salon space is a component that you're going to reuse, that's why you have to have different unique IDs and to use it as much as possible. Okay. And then for the ID, we are going to put one. We are going to start with one. So we'll drag this here, put here one, okay? And then the arrangement is the vertical scroll arrangement, the one that we had initially put in the screen here. So you'll click here, scroll down and choose vertical scroll arrangement like that, okay? So Eunice, you're asking, why is it necessary to delete progress dialog? That's a great question, Eunice. When you're fetching data from the Firebase database, you're factoring in a situation in which a user's internet is not really good. So you put a progress dialog to start loading, and that's why you've put it here. Call Firebase DB1 dot, we've put it call notifier one dot show progress dialog. So what is a progress dialog? Is that continuous loading that is stopping you from doing anything in your screen, okay? It is stopping you from doing anything in your screen until the data has been fetched. So when the data has been fetched or when Firebase DB1 has gotten value, now you can dismiss the dialog comfortably, okay? You dismiss the dialog comfortably there and then start populating data. Let me know if you've understood that. That's a really great question, Eunice. Really eye-opening. Great. Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Vema. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, guys. Awesome. Keep the questions coming. Keep the questions coming. This is actually, people consider this a really complex thing, but it's not. It's actually very efficient. Imagine you reusing a particular component. It is like having a hybrid car that uses very little fuel to generate energy for you to move on. It's really the most efficient way to code, okay? Reusing components. Great. So the width of this, so in this space, we want it to have a height of 20 pixels. Normally, if we are at the designer section, if it would have been a visible component, we would just make sure that we come here and the height, at the height we select the height of, let's say, 20 pixels like that. But here it is a bit different because this is a non-visible component. This is a non-visible component. So when I hover like this, you can be able to see the instructions that this component or this is saying use width of height of -1 for wrap content, okay? And wrap content, of course, it has no, it's just wrap content. And then if you wanted to fill the entire parent, you use -2. But this one, you want it to have a particular height. So the width, we don't care about the width. We just care about the height, that top space. So this, we're going to put, math. We're going to put math because these are integers or numbers. We are going to put math. We've said the width we don't care, so we'll just put -1 for wrap content. And then the height, we are going to put 20. The moment you put a value of 20, it will know that this is 20 pixels. So we type there 20, and you've created a space and place it as a vertical scroll arrangement dynamically using code. Then after that, we are going to loop this data because as the appointment, someone might be putting appointments over and over again, placing appointment, creating appointment, and over and over again. So how do we make sure that we loop this data depending on the total number of appointments that have been fetched from the Firebase database? So it is very simple. We are going to use a block called for each. For each is one of the looping blocks. Okay, for each is one of the looping blocks. So this is how we go about it. Come to the control group and then choose for each key with value, because we are really dealing with dictionaries here. We are really dealing with dictionaries. Yeah. So we choose here for each key with value in dictionary. For each key with value in dictionary. So which dictionary are we looking at? The global all appointments, because we fetched all the appointments and put it in a dictionary called in this variable, in this get appointments variable. So we'll just come here and choose for each key with value in dictionary, get global all appointments. What should we do? We are now breaking down this into single appointments and populate it again and again. So each value will be populated depending on the number of appointments that the user has booked. So what we are going to do is we are going to set global single appointment because we've gotten all appointments. We're going to set the global single appointments depending on a couple of parameters. So I'll come here at the variables and choose set like that. Set global single appointment to, and then though this is where it gets a bit tricky, but don't worry, just keep an open mind. I'm going to explain. List pair to dictionary pairs. List here, list of pairs to dictionary pairs. Yeah, like that. And then what do we put at the end here? We call, we used, a web viewer. Let me confirm if we put a web viewer here. Yeah, we use the web viewer. Actually, the web viewer, because our data is stored in key and value, the format of storing that data, key value, is called JSON. I would really advise you to go and read more about JSON data, because it's really important for you to understand that you'll be able to use JSON format when you're linking APIs as well. So read about that. This web1 is the only component here that can be able to decode, a JSON data. So we'll use this one, call web1.json text decode, okay? So that it breaks for us, key value. Okay, so here at the call, here the JSON text should be now value, okay? You choose get value like that and put it there. Very simple. So at each single appointment, we are going to take global appointment and then check the dictionary pairs, okay? And then we break this data, because if you look at the appointment, make appointment screen, we're able to store this key value. Now we are getting all of this and breaking them depending on the dictionary, because each of them has, each value has a unique, of course, hairstyle, extra description, appointment date, appointment time, salon name. Then we also have the same hairstyle, extra description. So we are breaking it down in a loop and populating it as many times as the data that is found in the Firebase database. Great. So let me come back to the appointment screen, and then we start now we create the card view. After we've broken the pairs, let's put the card view. So we come here to the appointment screen where we created the dynamic card called appointment list. So we'll choose call appointment list dot create card view. Call appointment list dot create card view, and here it is, create card view like that. And then for the ID, we are going to put get key, because it depends with the type of, it depends with the, when we are storing data, we are storing that unique ID, and it's that key, okay? You're storing that unique ID. And then the arrangement, as we said, it is the vertical scroll arrangement. You're putting this inside the vertical scroll arrangement, the one that we have here. And then the width of this card, we want it to be, want this card to fill the parent of this, or we can say 90%. So how do you go about 90%? You come here at the math. We don't want it to feel like the entire width. At least it should be about 90%. So we come here at the math and choose a multiplication function, or choose a multiplication sign and put it there. And then we choose 0.9 as the value. We come here at the math again, put here, then 0.9, and then 0.9 of what? Of vertical scroll arrangement dot width. So it is basically 90%. 90% of the entire width is 0.9 times that. So it will occupy 90%. So we come here to the vertical scroll arrangement and choose vertical scroll arrangement dot width. You can always pick any, like we are not using height to use width. You can pick any and select in the drop down and then put it like that. And then for the height, we want it to wrap content. So for the wrap content, we'll put -1 so that it takes the height depending on the amount of data that it has. We really don't care about giving it a specific height. So we put there -1. So we've called the card view. Let us put the first label. Let me share again that, what is it called? Let me share again the whiteboard. Just a second. Yeah, I want to share again the whiteboard so that we all understand why we are putting what we are putting inside the card view. Okay, just a second so that I share the whiteboard. Fantastic. So share. So this is what we were saying, that each card is containing this. Okay, each card is containing this data. This is a card, and we're using a for each. So in a for each card will contain a salon name details, a space, hairstyle details, a space, label, appointment date and time, a space, and then extra description. And all these are populated in one card, depending on the amount of data that we fetch. And that's why we are using the loop concept. So the first thing that you're going to add in this card is a label that will contain the salon name details. So this is how we are going to go about it. Let me share now. Go back to my Modular Creator. So we'll come here at the bottom and then call salon LBL. The salon label too. We are going to recall it again and again. So we come here and put down here and say call salon label.create label, call salon LBL.create label. So for ID, we are going to get that key, the key of that unique single appointment, and add +1 so that each of the label has a unique ID. So we come here to the math, yes, and then get a plus sign. Okay, and then we choose this get key. It's this key here at the top. For each key with the value in dictionary, so you're getting that unique key. So for each key, if we have, let's say, key number 1, it will take that key, populate a label. If you have another key number 2, it will take that key number 2 after this label, populate that, so that it loops until the end. Okay, that is a looping concept. We'll be able to share with you also more materials so that you understand how looping works. So we get this key +1, so it will be very, very, very unique. So I'll come at the math again and get a plus and put it there and say +1. Okay, and then the arrangement, kama kawaida, we put at the card view now, because this one we are making sure that it is inside the card view. So the arrangement, we are going to say call appointment list, because each card view, we've given it a specific key here, depending on the data that we've fetched. So we'll come here and say call appointment list. Call appointment list dot get card view by ID, the one that has an open socket at the end. Okay, this one, get call appointment list dot get card view by ID. We're not just putting it in any card. We're putting in as depending on the key of that card. Now for the ID, we are going to put get key. Okay, for the ID, we are going to make sure that we get the key. So we just duplicate this, or we just hover here and get that key and put it there. We've put the first label. Of course, we'll populate. We are creating labels, space, then populate values down there. Now, after we've created the first label, let us create the space again. You have the first label, then a space. We'll come here and say call salon space dot create space, call salon space dot create space. Put it there. And then we get the ID again, and then we add +1, of course, because we are handling the space, the ID of the space will increment as we go by. I'll explain more as we go by. So I'll go to the math. I'll just duplicate this as well because it's very similar, and put the ID. Then the arrangement is the same here as get card view by ID, because you're putting this space inside that card view. Okay, and then the width is -1. We really don't care the thickness, but the height is what really matters, because the elements are arranged vertically. So the width, will put a math here and put -1, -1, and then the height. The height will be 10 pixels. I think 10 pixels is really friendly. So -1, of course, is wrap content, -2 fill parent, then any other value is in pixels mode. So we are going to put here 10, like that. Higher. Now we're going to create another label, and this label will contain now the it was appointment, salon name, then the description. So let us put another label. Let us put another label. So now it's going to be easy. I'll just duplicate this and change the key. I'll just duplicate this, put it here, because we are reusing the same label, but the ID should not be the same, because this is the second label that comes after the space. So I'll put an ID of 2, like that. Okay. So we've created the first label in the same card, created the second label with a different ID in the same card, okay? And then we are going to duplicate the space again. We are going to duplicate the space and give it an ID of 2, because we don't want it to be very similar like that. This one is ID 1. We have to change this to be 2, so that it's really unique to that, okay? So let me share the whiteboard again so that we understand. We also like brainstorm together and understand what we are doing. So we've added this. We've added this salon name, and then we've added the space. Now we are adding the label for hairstyle details. We add a space. Appointment time, add a space, and then extra description, we add a space. So it's just a matter of us duplicating a couple of times. So this one will be ID 1, ID 1, of course, it's a space for ID 1, ID 2, ID 2, ID 3, ID 1, ID 1, ID 2, ID 2, ID 3, ID 3, ID 4, we conclude. We don't have a space again. So when you cram that, of course, I think I've stopped sharing. Sorry about that. Let me share again. Yes, Cordula Creator. Yeah, shared again. Yeah, so these are the concepts that, this is the concept of now reusing the element. We're just duplicating now. We've created the space. Now let's duplicate the label again that will hold the appointment date and time. We change this to ID 3, and then we duplicate the space, and then put there ID 3. And then we create a label, duplicate the label so that we can have it as ID 4. ID 4 and leave it there because you don't need a space at the top and at the bottom of the card. The card itself already has some padding and some spaces at the top and at the bottom, so we don't need to add that again. Now, after you've finished with the putting the label up and populated that in a specific card view, now this is where we are going to call to set the text. Now we are going to set text. So we are going to start with salon. We are going to start with salon name. Now, how do we set text? We've created empty text. Now we are setting the text. We come here to salon label. You click there and then say salon label. Call salon label.set text. Call salon label.set text. Here you go, like this. We put it there. For the ID, it depends now with the ID that we are putting at the top. We have a ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for the space, it's already 1 up to 3 alone. So for the first ID, we have ID 1. So I'll just duplicate this and change here so that we don't scroll at the top. We have the first ID. And then for the text, we are going to call the method of formatting the text. We created a method here as a procedure called format text that will bolden the first part of the text. So we are going to call that and put it there. And then for the title, we are going to call salon name. So I'll just come here at the text and get a blank text bubble, put it there, and then say salon name. And then here at the salon name, we can just, at the content, we can get now the value from the dictionary. How do we get value from the dictionary? We come from the dictionary because if you can remember, we have at the make appointment screen, we have these keys. Now we are fetching these keys from the dictionary, okay? So you have to really be careful and keen because we were storing data with this dictionary. So you have to be really careful and make sure that you call the exact key, the exact way you named your key here, okay? So we'll come here, we'll come back to the appointment, and then for the content, we are going to the dictionary, and then choose get value for key in dictionary, get value for key in dictionary, like that. Get value for key in dictionary. So key ni ile yenye nimekuwa nikisema, that specific value that you entered before. So the key, I'll just put a blank text bubble and make sure that I have the exact value, and the value is hairstyle. If you're not sure, you can go and copy and come and paste, okay? So hairstyle, like that. Then in what dictionary? In global single appointment, because we've broken down and given a single appointment to one particular card. So I'll click at the variable section and then choose get. Here at the dictionary, put single appointment, single appointment. And then the HTML format should be true because we've used HTML tags. It's really important, not this one. I should get from the logic, okay? Yeah, it should be true. It should be true because this method, there is a method that we've used here called format text, and it is boldening the first section using HTML. So HTML format should be true. Great. Now that one is salon name. And then we are going to set text again in the second ID for hairstyle. Now, I'll just duplicate that, put here, and then change the ID to 2. And then instead of hair salon name, it should be hair style. Hairstyle, like that. And then get value for key. The value is, okay, I think salon name here I've renamed wrongly. This one should be salon name. Salon name, the way we stored here at the dictionary here at the make appointment. Salon name is like that, so I have to be keen on that. Hairstyle is like that. So if you don't really, if you are not keen on this, you won't receive any data, or the data, of course, data will be fetched from the Firebase database, but because you've not called the correct key, it won't populate. So be keen on that. Don't be like me. Yeah, don't be like me. So here we've set the ID there to 2. Now we are going to duplicate here, and here we are going to concatenate some text. It's just joining. So don't overthink it. So what I'm going to do here is I'll duplicate this and put it here like this, and then change this ID to 3. And then for the title, of course, this one is hairstyle. That is salon name. This is hairstyle. And this ID for the third one is appointment date and time. So I'll just say appointment date stroke time, like that, so that it captures everything. Appointment date stroke time. And by the way, in this title, feel free, you're not restricted with the way you're writing. Feel free, you can even put spaces if you want. But here at the get value, the moment you put even a space in front or after, you will have errors. Here at the title, you have the freedom. You have the freedom to put as much as you want. You have the freedom to put anything there, but make sure that you don't have spaces here at the value, at the keys that you're using, okay? Make sure that you don't have spaces. Great. Now, at the appointment date and time, we are going to use here at the content, I'll just drag this and put it on the side, and then come here at the text and get a join, because we are joining two keys. We're joining 2 keys and putting a space between those 2 keys. So we'll use a join, and then in this join, we only extend it once, like that. We'll extend it once. And the first, at the first place, we are going to put the appointment date. Appointment date. And then after the appointment date, we will add a blank text bubble, and inside the blank text bubble, you're just going to press a space bar so that the date comes first, then space, time, okay? Yeah, it's very simple, just joining data. So I'll duplicate this, and then instead of appointment date for key, I'll change this one now to appointment time. And make sure, I'm going to insist that you kindly make sure that it tallies with this. Make appointment, upper or the make appointment screen, make sure that it tallies here, appointment date and appointment time. And then finally, at the appointments page, and then finally, I'm going to finalize with a set text of description, okay? And that is the third key. Oh, we are done with the third key. Now let's finish with the fourth key. I'll just duplicate the one that is at the top because this one doesn't have a join. I won't duplicate this one that is at the last one. I'll duplicate the second last one because it does not have a join value here at the extra description. Change the ID to 4 because we created the extra description ID for the salon label dynamic component to be an ID of the key plus 4. So here we write extra description. Instead of hairstyle, we write extra description. Extra description, like that, full colon. And then here as a get value for key, it's make sure that it's tallies. So extra description, like that. Fantastic. And then we are finalizing with adding a space. So after you've added the card, you just add a space after. So that keeps on looping and adding card, looping and adding card. So what I'm going to do is I'll call salon space, again, dot create space, so that it puts space after the card. All these items are inside a card. So I'll just call salon space dot create space again, like that. So for ID, I'm just going to get key. So it depends with the number of data that is in the Firebase database. Each data has a unique key. So, and then I'll put the arrangement now in the vertical arrangement. This time I'm not putting in the card. I'm just putting in the vertical arrangement. So I'll come here and click on the vertical arrangement like this, and then choose vertical scroll arrangement, put it there. For the width, we really don't care about the width. It should be wrap content, -1. So I'll just come at the math like that, get this one, put it there, and say -1, okay? Then height, you can just have a height of 15 pixels difference. So I'll come here and at the math again, or I can just duplicate this and then write 15 and then put it here. And we are done. We are done. So we have utilized dynamic components and determined the way we want our items to be arranged. So it's going to look something like this, something like what we have had here in the what we've had here. We have this one is a card that has a unique key, and then in this key, in this card, it has a salon label with salon name of ID1, then salon space of ID1, hairstyle details of ID2, salon space of ID2, then and then appointment date and time of ID3, then salon space of ID3, then extra description of ID4. Then after we've populated this data, we've added salon space to the vertical arrangement so that it populates another data space and loops through until data has been completely fetched. Wow. So Collins, you're asking, what do you mean by ID? Let me come back. Okay, let me share my screen again so that I can explain what I mean by ID. ID is, let me give an example of having like the way we have identity cards, okay? We all have unique IDs. Sawa. So here in this screen, we are using dynamic components, and you're only using one of them. We've only dropped one dynamic components here in this screen. For example, salon label. We've only dropped one salon label as a dynamic component, but this dynamic component, we are going to reuse it as many times as the card is going to populate. So we want to make sure that at a particular point, that salon label populates a specific data. At a particular point in a card, that salon label populates a particular kind of data. That's why we are putting IDs, okay? So if I come here at the top, we're able to create a card. You using that dynamic component, create a card and give it ID depending on the value that we stored in the Firebase database. And then we create that label. And we give it an ID of 1. So we are going to say that in that specific card, it contains a single appointment. So in that single appointment, in that ID, it gets the key of that card and give it an ID of 1, of +1, of course, +1, so that it is unique to that card and populate that specific data. For example, here, when it is +1, it populates the appointment, the salon name. Okay, the salon name is here at +1. And then at +2, it populates the hairstyle, for example, Abuja or something. Then for the +3, it populates the appointment date and time. Then +4, extra description. So you have to have an ID so that you uniquely reuse that space. You're using that space, recreating it and putting it in a card view and also in the entire vertical arrangement. That's why we need IDs, okay? Let me know if you've gotten that, Collins. I know the concept is a bit tricky. Let me not lie. At first, it might be a bit hard for you to think through, okay? But it takes practice. Even after this session, you can take some time, go through this again, and also research about JSON, okay? You'll understand more about what I'm talking about. You'll understand more of what I'm talking about. Let me know if you've understood that, Collins. Why I am using IDs? Thank you. Thank you, Collins. Thank you, Collins. Reach out to me in case you have not gotten it well. I will do my best to explain it as well, even after the session. Okay? Any other question? So I've shared with you a form. Kindly fill the form. I'm going to share again, especially if you've just joined us. It's only exclusive to this meeting. Make sure that you fill the form ASAP as accurately as possible. And then we are going, I just want us to discuss a particular, there is one thing I said I'm going to discuss with you before I give you an assignment. So there are ways in which you can really create beautiful user interface designs. Okay, there are ways in which you can create beautiful user interface designs, and the best way is for you to seek inspirations online. There are so many sites that have created design beautiful designs for you to be inspired to create beautiful apps. So the best way is just to Google. How do you go about it? You can just say mobile app design inspiration, like that. Mobile app design inspiration. And then my number one go-to site, of course, is Pinterest, like that. Pinterest. Dribble as well. Dribble is my number one go-to site. And then we have Mocha Plus. Is also a site that I go to a lot. And then finally, there is the one which contains really premium designs. So in case you're creating designs and you want to make some money out of your designs, you can come, especially if you're using Photoshop, Adobe. We have this one, Adobe. We have also After Effects, Illustrator, Adobe XD, Figma, and HTML, of course, if you are creating designs with HTML, and also WordPress. So you can use this and upload designs. There are premium designs that you can buy, or you can just utilize the free ones, or even upload. You start by uploading free and then start making money slowly by selling your premium designs. Okay, like for example, this is $9. Yeah, for you to buy, use this design for commercial use. So having said that, you just come and seek an inspiration. So for example, I am inspired. Let me have a look at another way is, of course, by you just of course, this one is Pinterest. You can just come to the Google's images section like that and just have a look and be inspired by this design. Okay, and then choose the one that you feel like, wow, it wows you the most. Choose the one that you feel like, this one, I think I can create this. But I'm going to send you a specific design. Before I do, I'm going to demonstrate with you a small design for just 1 minute so that you can understand how you can use this inspiration and create a design here at the, and create a design here at, using this tool and create a design using this tool. So let me look at one that looks something good. Let me look at something good and simple so that you can just have an idea of how you can go about it. Here, I actually demonstrated using this one in the other session, but I'm just going to do the same. For example, you want to create this screen, this one here, this one written vicinity, pay pay what pay online has never been so easy, something like that. So I'll just duplicate this as fast as possible in the next 2 minutes so that you understand how you can duplicate that, and then I'll give you an assignment of creating a design, because it's really important before you create a project or before you create an app, you have to understand how to create beautiful designs. So I'll create a new project and say sample UI. Okay, sample UI like that. I'll just finish. And then here at this project, okay, it's taking some time to create. So as it's taking some time, I'm going to download an image from Pixabay. a forest image because I see the background contains a foresty image. So I'll just click pixabay.com and then choose, let's say, forest, like that. So I'll choose a free version, a free forest. I don't know if there is a term like that, but I'll choose something that is this one. I'll choose this. It's mountainous. I think it's cool. It's a bit similar. I'll choose the small one. And one thing I'm going to insist, guys, is choose small images because either way in mobile, this image is still of high quality. So I'll download that and save that. And then I'll save that. I downloaded it before, so I'll just cancel and I use the same. So I'll come here to the Codula creator screen. Okay. And then I'll change a couple of properties. Let me just, yes, like that. So here at screen one, first of all, I'll start with primary color, dark. I'll just choose teal, the darker version of teal. Just a little bit darker, just a little bit, and then set. And then for primary color, I'll choose teal, just teal itself, because I'm going to use a mountainous greenish things. So here at the title bar visible, I remove that, and then I'll put a background image here. I'll put a background image like that. Upload a background image from my computer. It's here, BG, open. And then after it has uploaded, I'll select it like that. It is there. Now, how do you add that gradient effect? You use, of course, an arrangement. Because our items are arranged horizontally, you come at the general section and use, vertical, not horizontal, and choose a vertical scroll arrangement like that. Give it a height and width of fill parent, and then background color. This is where now the trick applies. You click and select like that, and then reduce the transparency. Reduce the transparency so that it is just a bit transparent like that. So you can see it is mountainous, yes, but it is transparent. It is mountainous, but it is transparent. And then from there, you can now freely add your texts and buttons based on the design inspiration that we've been able to see. Where is it? Yeah, based on the design inspirations. You can be able to add a horizontal arrangement here, put a white background, and so on. So I will be able to share an assignment alongside this concept. And keep an open mind. We are going to discuss in the coming session in preparation for us to just think about our ideas and make them possible. Okay? So thank you so much, guys, for joining. Is there any question before I close the meeting? Any question? Okay, so I hope all of you have filled the form. Thank you so much for joining, and I really wish you a nice afternoon ahead. We look forward to continuing with you in these sessions, and we look forward to your creations. Please continue feeling inspired because you are the generation that are going to empower another generation as well. So acquire these skills and then use them for the betterment of yourself as well as to empower others. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I wish you all a nice afternoon ahead. Bye, everyone.